Hello, everybody. Today I'm talking about planning for Sade Sati. Yes, we can plan for Sade Sati. This is one of the most challenging transits of Saturn. And over the years, I've come to realize that it is important to have your mind prepared for it and some simple common sense remedies that you can do to plan for it. Hello, I'm Komilla Sutton, and we are talking about planning for Sade Sati. So, when I talk about Sade Sati, what is Sade Sati? Sade Sati is a 7.5-year transit of Saturn. When Saturn transits 12th house from your moon, in the sign where the moon is placed, and then in the second sign from the moon. So this particular transit is considered one of the most challenging transits of Saturn. And what I found was that when I was young and I didn't know about Vedic astrology, I was always told about Sade Sati, and it became like a fear for me what it was and how to deal with it. But and of course, when I had my first Sade Sati, I made all the classic mistakes that you can make. And so, of course, looking back, there was a lot of learning to do as well. And but still, it wasn't an easy time. So when I had the Sade Sati the second time round, I decided that I'm going to plan for it and I'm going to work with it, whatever they have said in the classics, what they've talked about, how to deal with Saturn and what to how to work with it and understand this transit of Saturn. That lot has been said about it, and I'm just going to share my experience and also what I've noticed with clients and students, how they react to Sade Sati. So the main aspect of Sade Sati is that you should not have this mindset that it is not going to affect me. One of the things I find a number of people saying, oh, Saturn is my best planet. I'm Libra ascendant or Taurus ascendant or Capricorn, Aquarius. He's my best planet. He's not going to bother me. The whole concept of Saturn and Shani Maharaj is that he is here for us to face our karma. And he comes across to everybody, whether you're rich or poor, or Saturn is a good planet for you or negative planet for you. He comes to all of us and he asks us that, okay, this is the time to pay back your karma. And of course, Sade Sati is the most intense time where we are paying back to our past lives, and a lot of stuff we don't even know why it's happening, but sometimes also things left undone in the previous years. So Sade Sati brings those issues alive for us. And so we have to understand it and understand that it is something we cannot avoid, but we can plan for it, and maybe we can experience some part of it, but not everything possible. So you can think about partly experiencing it, but avoiding some of the difficulties that are connected with Sade Sati. So what happens is that before we even go towards looking at what Saturn is doing by transits, we have to see what dasha we are in. So a couple of things to see: is your dasha good? Secondly, are you changing dasha? Because if you're getting Sade Sati at the same time as you're changing dasha, then that is quite complicated because you're dealing with two issues. So on two frontiers, you are dealing with difficult situations. But generally, if your dasha is good, then it is supporting you, helping you, and working with you. Secondly, you have to study the transits, which I do the transits report all the time, of your Lagna Lord and your Moon Lord. Are they strong during the time when Saturn is going to be affecting you. So when your Lagna Lord is strong, it gives you the ability to cope. If your moon lord is strong, then that also gives you the ability to cope with the situation. So Sade Sati is divided into three main sections, and you can say one before the main section. That means the pre-Sade Sati, you can say, when Saturn is not affecting you, but it is coming on to your sign. So for example, right now at the recording in November 2019, Saturn is in Sagittarius, about to go into Capricorn. So if you are Aquarius moon, you are about to come into Sade Sati. So at this stage, you're not feeling any effect, but you can still definitely be planning for it because you are going to get into Sade Sati. So there's the pre-section, then when Saturn goes into the 12th sign from your moon. And when Saturn is in the 12th sign from the moon, actually you don't feel any aspect of it, but you feel restlessness, the desire to change home, the desire to change your career, your job, to give up your job. You feel, I must do something. Whereas I've noticed this again and again about Saturn, is that we must be careful that Saturn makes us do things, whereas his messages don't do it. So we feel restless and we make mistakes at this stage because we don't actually feel any pressure of Saturn. It's in the 12th house, and it's not really affecting the moon, but it has started creating conditions that will affect you in 2.5 years, maybe 3 years, depending on where your moon is placed. So we need to be very conscious of this transit, that as we are coming into Sade Sati, we are aware of the choices we are making today, have the ability to affect us when Saturn is going to be on our moon. So this is a moon transit. You don't have Sade Sati for any other planet, only for the moon, and the mind is going to get affected. So we have to make choices today, and minimum pressure choices on ourselves. So usually you should not be breaking away from your support system. Very often I see people break up from their support system. They move away, they go to a different country, a different city, they change a different job, and they think, oh, that's going to be really good, because the restlessness is within you. And for that restlessness, it's important to calm yourself down, understand, because why do you know Jyotish or Vedic astrology? Because then you can make the wise choices at the time when these transits are intense, and that we can make those choices and deal with them in a more wiser way. I'm going to make another video for Manasa Nakshatra. Manasa Nakshatra is the 25th nakshatra from your moon sign. And that is very difficult, almost like the most difficult nakshatra through which Saturn transits. And this will be approximately your 12th, 11th house, depending on your moon's position. So when Saturn is transiting through your Manasa Nakshatra, this is also like heralding the Sade Sati. And Manasa means mind, and the mind is very unsettled. So the 25th nakshatra from your moon. So it is important that at that time you don't make the mistakes and you don't unsettle yourself. And also the other important planning you're doing when Saturn is 12th from your moon is regarding your finances. You see, Sade Sati can be very expensive. You don't know where the expense is coming from. Even the best astrologer, the best mind can't tell you this is going to be coming. Why? Because by nature, it is unexpected. So it is important that you don't make yourself very tight for money. You save your money. You don't do wasteful expenses, restraint, abstinence, really tight control over your purses, but also in the mode of saving. Because, if something comes, you've got the money to deal with it. It can be an unexpected tax return, your car may break down, you may have some problem with the house, or any of the above. But the main thing is this: you can't decide what is going to happen. So when Saturn goes into the 12th from the moon, you are consciously restraining yourself and being conscious that this is I'm going into a tough transit, and therefore I should have my support system, my financial system, all very organized. And genuinely, Saturn rewards those who are careful, who take care, who don't waste stuff, because less is more as far as this Saturn transit is concerned, the 12th from your moon. So then the most intense transit is when Saturn is on your moon. So it's in the same sign as far as your moon is concerned. Now you have to also see how difficult is my moon. So if you have moon placed in the 6th, 8th or 12th houses, that means that then Saturn is going through 6th, 8th or 12th from your ascendant. And it's important, especially 8th and 12th house, because Saturn will be 8th from the ascendant and or 12th from the ascendant. So you're having a double intense Sade Sati. And then you have to see three sections of this transit. One is that it comes into the sign. So when it comes into the sign, then you know that now this 2.5 years, a lot of caution, a lot of care and patience, and taking some difficulty as a plus point. Don't think, oh, everything will be fine and I'm doing the remedy or I'm doing this, nothing will happen. Some issues will come there. So you need to be conscious of it. And then the second factor is that you are, when it goes into the nakshatra, your moon is placed. Usually Saturn is in the nakshatra for 1 year in one nakshatra. And so that once it's in your nakshatra where your moon is, then you know you are in the intense part of Sade Sati. And your choices are limited. You have to take care, and your own issues are strong. And so many times clients or students tell me, oh, I'm not feeling Sade Sati. And then suddenly Shani will come and block everything. Shani has Stambhana Shakti, and Stambhana Shakti is just to block everything. And you're running and suddenly you can't go anywhere. Or, whatever's happening, it will encourage you to do things and then suddenly create a block. So at the back of your mind, you should be aware that this is my most intense. It is 1 year. Now, in the intensity also, intensity varies. So are you going to get Saturn transiting over your moon once? Is it going to go twice or 3 times? If it is twice, it means that Saturn is going to station over your moon. That means it's going to stop, retrograde, either go backward or forward. That means definitely that particular time is going to be very difficult. If it is just going once, it means it's come once and it has moved on. So you have to see exactly when the third part is. It is in the pada. So the Navamsha or the pada, exactly where your moon is placed. So you do need to have all these dates in mind and check them. And I've noticed that when Saturn is on your moon, your mind is very dull. You feel very lazy. You feel very stressed out. you find that it's not easy to deal with situations, and some issue will come up. If you have three times the issue will come up. Another thing to watch out is your health, and especially as you get older, the Saturn can give health issues, it can give career issues, it can give relationship issues. Of course, it all depends on the individual chart, but that is, you could think, this is my crisis year, so I am taking it very slowly. I'm double checking my choices. I'm thinking I'm not thinking clearly, so I could make a wrong choice as well. And it's okay if we make a wrong choice, because in hindsight, you'll think, okay, that is fine. Maybe I was meant to do. But carelessness or casualness with Sade Sati is not going to help you. So to be aware, to be conscious, and to work with it. And I would say that patience is your best friend. Patience and hard work. In fact, one of my friends, she was in deep Sade Sati, and she lost her job. And I recommended to her that, why don't you take whatever job? So she said, I'm getting a job, but I'm not being paid enough for it. And I said, as part of your Sade Sati, think of that as remedy, because you're earning something and you're giving back some karmic debt that you're paying. And so she found that really good. So even though her job was boring, but it was something psychologically she could work with, and also to deal with some voluntary work. She was, you can do some voluntary work. You can do donation of your time. If money is tight, you can give something back to society. If you have money, you can feed the poor. You can help in that, whatever area that you feel most troubled about, that area, you can support the cause for that area. So what I've noticed is that the moment Saturn goes away from your moon, while it's on your moon, your mind is not working at all. And then it goes away from the moon, and suddenly you start thinking clearly. Suddenly you start, oh, I can think, I can plan. So it's almost like the shadow has cleared, or the weight has cleared off your mind. So that is important. And don't try to rush it. Not cutting any corners during Sade Sati. That I feel is the most important thing you can do, because it is going to take its time. If you are stuck in a problem, it's going to take time to resolve it. So if you try to push it, you cut corners, you want to do something, that's not going to help you. So be very conscious of that, and that will be supporting. And this is not a time for expansion, it's a time for contraction. So you're not buying the bigger house, the bigger mortgage, taking the bigger debt. Those things are what you're planning in Sade Sati. If you want to buy something, you can window shop and think, okay, let Saturn go past my moon, then I'll think about it. And by then, your desire may have gone. You may be thinking something slightly different. And, you know exactly what is happening. So once Saturn leaves your exact degree of the moon, we come on to the third stage of Sade Sati, where Saturn has to leave the sign where your moon is, and then it goes into the next sign. Now, this sign is usually sorting out stuff that has come before. Your mind is fine, but what I've found is that suddenly some issue will come up. So we don't feel that mentally pressurized. The mental pressure, the mental sorrow is when Saturn is exactly on your moon. And before that, in the 25th nakshatra from your moon, I'm going to make a separate video of the 25th nakshatra, and then you can see which one is for you. And so the 25th nakshatra, or when it is on your moon. When it is on your moon, the mind is very restless. But think about it, know that this is a tough time and it will pass. And all the choices you make here, you don't need to rush through anything. Sometimes, jobs will go, you have to do things because it's things that are out of your control. Then react to those situations. Don't create your own situations. And so in the third part of it, then as I said, that you are still prepared for unexpected events. Until then, Saturn is going right towards the end of your Sade Sati. Usually that particular time, he can, kick you as you leave. It's something strange with Saturn that he's creating a situation, and especially if you have totally given up your restraining patience power. But even then, some issue can come up right at the end. But the difference is that the issues that Saturn brings at the start of Sade Sati and what he brings at the end, you are much more able to deal with it, and you are able to react to it because you have grown up, you've learned your lesson, you've developed yourself over the 7.5 years. So most simple remedy for Saturn is patience. Secondly, to save your money, to be careful how you spend. Third is not to make unexpected changes. Don't give up your secure job for some illusionary job. Don't change your cities, countries. And sometimes you have to do it. You can't stop yourself. But if you help yourself, then that will be useful for you. And secondly, it's always good to give something, a donation to the poor, to the needy, seva or service to elderly people, and, mantra for Saturn. The best mantra for Saturn is Om Triambakam mantra. I'll put a link here. I did a video on that. And Om Namah Shivaya. That is a good mantra. You can do mantra for Saturn as well. I do, myself, I do 19,000 Saturn mantras, and I started doing Saturn remedy since 1979. So every year I have a Saturn remedy planned in my life. And I, experience my own Sade Sati relatively easier. And definitely not crazy like when I first time when I had no idea how to cope with it. So do write to me and tell me how you are experiencing your Sade Sati, and any remedy that you suggest. That will be good. And so do remember to subscribe, because we are coming up to the end of 2019. So lots of new videos coming up as well soon. Thank you.